anybody's here, or if anybody will watch this at some point. I haven't announced it, I just thought I'd go live, test some of the new screens I've got. So this is my first test screen, which I kind of like. So it's just a little loop animation of him looking around, signifying me looking at the messages. I just thought video wise it would work quite nicely. You guys might hate it, but it looks pretty. Next one will just be the game. With the game there, so I might be in menus or something, don't necessarily want to chat anywhere, but the chat's always there in the background if people need it. Then we've got in-flight, so if I'm out in space or just sat in a station like this, the chat will continue coming up on the right hand side. We've also got now an end screen, but obviously I'm not going to keep that up because that would just be silly. People think it's over before it started. I've also got a nice escape button, so the escape button mutes everything. It means if I suddenly just go for a wee, I just go, hey, I'm off for a pee, and I just... I can mute and unmute, come back in here, say hello, do whatever I need to do. But I kind of like it because the moment I hit escape, it just brings me into here. Mic's muted, I can go for a pee, come back. The moment I return to game though, even if I'm muted, so if I re-mute, all of a sudden if I hit the game button I come flying back, the audio doesn't get left off by mistake. I've seen that happen too many times. Brings the game chat back up. So, may as well do something, because I haven't played this thing for days, because I've basically been messing around with this. Don't even know what I was doing. So I was going for combat rank. Cassidy always what am I doing here? Let's have a look. See if I can recap myself. Ah yeah, that was the two HAZ RESs there. I was going to try a compromised nav beacon, wasn't I? I was. So you should find... Okay. This makes more sense. So I'll come out of here for a second. I did have a series of tools set up for this, so I've got a system for finding them. Let's call this. Let's have a look here. It was this, so pretty straightforward and basic. It's a resource extraction site sort of distance calculator. But the cool thing is it has compromised nav beacons built into it. All links are in the description below, so it's a pretty easy thing to find. All you do is pop in whatever system you're in. So we're in Lulula, or it is Lulula. Now we can search from there, and it'll give us our HAZ RESs, highs, etc. It'll also give us some notes, so station at AB2 1 light seconds away. It's handy to know that. It doesn't give us the landing pad size though, so that could be bothersome. So if you're going in there in a large ship, you might need to just double check on the system map to find out what landing pad size they have. You can tell by looking at the system map anyway. If it's an orbital, if it's a little tiny orbital thing, you probably won't get in there. But you can also then say compromised nav beacon, so you can break it down by compromised nav beacon, and it'll give you the closest ones to you. Oh no, it will do if you put the system back in. So Lulula. So it now shows me compromised nav beacons. I thought this did give us distance, but it doesn't seem to. So station in system, that doesn't help. It's Federation. Outpost rearm Fed. So the notes here are slightly fractured, and I'm guessing a lot of this will be out of date. But what you can do is obviously just copy and paste that data back into your game. I'll bring up your system map. Sorry, galaxy map. Paste that in, and it will tell you how far away that is. 171 light years. That doesn't seem to be the closest to me, personally. Or I'm using the tool wrong. Or did that get left off again? Lula. Yep. Search. No, it is. Yeah. So we're on here. I'm pretty sure this had distances before. What is that? Oh, that's just the... Let's see if that is linear in distance. So this one, we know is 171 light years. That can't be the closest compromised nav beacon to where I am. Surely that's saying 171 as well. Let's try this one. It's also 171. So let's try one on the other end of the list just to see. Turn that clicky bit off my spinning wheel. So at the bottom list 142, so the distance. I need to figure out on that site how to select the distance. Big matches. I must be missing something very basic. Coordinates are unknown. Oh, that's weird. Have I typed it in wrong? Lulu. Yeah, I have. You see? There's this schoolboy error. Lou. L-U. Ah, I see I've done it again. Lou. Lou. Ah, oh, God's sakes. L-U-L-U-A. There we go. So yeah, the error is because I can't type or read or do any of the basic stuff required to use a tool that's offered. Apart from that, anyway, so according to this now, we do have compromised nav beacons, 58 light years, 62 light years, 76 light years. So I wasn't going mad, it did give you the distances previously. I was just using the tool incorrectly. So we could go and look at the compromised nav beacons. It says outpost at 3 and 5. I'm assuming that's from the A star. If we look at the star system, we can actually, the notes are irrelevant. So what we'll do is we'll just nip back in, look at the star system itself. That way you can determine whether it's going to be suitable for the ship you're in, assuming you have the data. Now that isn't necessarily suitable for me to dock. So if you suddenly got killed, you'd end up back where you started, unless you can find one very close in the system, which of course you can do. Just simply go to the galaxy map, have a quick look around, look at another system. You'll probably find there's very easily a station quite close. Only 240 light seconds. As a matter of course, I always actually go straight to a station first if possible. Simply because you can die by accident, or you can mess it up. Easily done. So we got to 23%, didn't we? I've given up on things like materials and stuff like that because I've got a lot of grade 5 stuff. I'm going to see how the materials trader works out for me. If the materials trader doesn't work out for me and I suddenly find I'm in a massive pile of car, then I'm just going to have to go and search for it like I would have done in the old days. But I'm hoping having the higher grade 5 stuff means that I can reverse swap down to the lower grades and get far more for your bang for your buck, so to speak. I don't know whether it means I can cross bits and bobs, whether grade 5 only works within that specific type of data or whether it works across all data. That means conceivably you could get data that comes from you know, Imperial factions that you don't necessarily want to go to. I don't know, we'll find out tomorrow. I don't need to do anything here, I don't think. No, we're all good to go. Get rid of any dog detail. No. So we've got an inability to actually plan a route first. So I have to go back to here. Multi. So 7. You see the station I searched for was a lot further away. I was looking at the wrong place. It doesn't matter. We'll just go here anyway. Anything local? I'm clicking around like an idiot. Looks like it's all small stations around here. This is where I got confused, you see, because it automatically takes you local to you. At least I didn't do what I normally do and just start going. Alright, let's go. Shall I leave it balanced? I haven't played this for days, so I'm going to be a disaster. It's amazing, isn't it? You can not play this for a day or two, and then you just completely start becoming a... Coordination just goes out the window. Power flight.
Flight powered.
Boost more.
Boosting 5 times.
Frameshift drive charging.
Multi-boost over.
There is still a slightly echoey sound to the sound, not sure why. I was streaming on the old OBS, I've switched to a new version of OBS and the sound isn't as clear as it was before. There's this weird echo to it.
Frameshift drive charging.
Pardon me. I'm going to test my escape button actually. So we obviously need to be over here. Yeah, my escape button obviously takes me to the main menu. So there should still be chat. I can go for a wee, etc, etc. Okay, it's working, cool.
Frameshift drive charging.
Another thing I meant to do is be in the Discord server.
Fuse
there's a Discord server now as well. Link is below. You can just go straight into there. So maybe you're not able to type because you're playing your own game, because that's the main reason for watching other people when they're playing is so you're kind of not playing by yourself. I said by, not with, by the way. But you might want to open up a chat channel. I should be able to hear you. If anyone can test that, that'd be good. Obviously, there's only 2 people watching now, and I think one's my mate and the other one's probably my wife downstairs, just to make sure that it's working.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Try and stay away from the stars. This thing handles heat really badly. I was going to fix it, but with new engineering coming in tomorrow, there was little or no point to it. So, same as my all my beam lasers are only grade 4 efficient beams. If I get them to grade 5, I can change my groups around. So if anybody was here or has seen a previous fire group's rundown of this, I can fire all of them in a good burst to take out small ships quite quickly. In fact, 2 good bursts. Well, first burst will take the shields down, spin around, and you're back on them, and you can take them out in seconds. If it becomes a bit more protracted, you've got the 2 higher beams and your side beams, so your class 2s and your 4s. They're basically firing on one group, and then you've got your spotter beams, as I call them. They're the little grade 1s at the bottom, which don't actually have much impact. So I might try and get some sort of effect on those. That I don't know. I'll have a look at what the experimental effects are, and then judge on what I'm going to do with the 1s, the 2s, and the 4s. And then obviously I've got 2s and 1s firing together. So that means no matter how low I get on my capacitor, I'm always firing 4 beams of some kind. And if it flies above me, I can just quickly switch to the 2 larger or huge beam lasers. So I just need to figure out what I'm going to do experimentally wise on those. The fragmented cannon underneath me, that is a double shot. Punches out nearly 300 in damage. It stops the small ships from flying underneath you and just shooting you from underneath. NPCs don't do it at all, and the only time I've ever had a real player say you're always weak on your belly decided to leave quite quickly. So yeah, it seems to work. Problem is, even to get it to just fire that way, it was a bit of an engineering task.
Frameshift drive charging.
I'm of course getting more and more steadily drunk as we do this, because it's the last night at 2.4, so I'm raising several glasses to it. So I'll be taking breaks to go and get other beers and go for a wee as my bladder fills.
View scoping. Fuel scooping complete.
So I figure the only active thing I could do is actually put the combat rank up high enough between now and tomorrow. So
Frameshift drive charging.
wait for the loud bits to finish before I carry on talking. Take another sip of my go-go juice.
4, 3, 2, 1.
If any of you guys that are watching could just test the chat, even if it's just to type a single letter in or something, just so I can see if it's working.
View scoping.
Okay, compromised
Fuel
nav
scooping
beacon.
complete.
Take it, that's the other side. Yep. Alright, let's go. I'll fly out and back because this doesn't handle heat. From stars very well. It does alright under its weapons. I mean, it manages to keep itself going, and I've not managed to cook it yet. After the last stream, first time I've ever used these shield boosters, not shield boosters, but the shield cell banks, was the other day, and I stupidly put them on a fire group. I've now got them on a voice attack command. If you put them on fire groups, they tend to just fire all the boosters at once. Oh, thank you, Alan. Much appreciated. So the chat is working. Did it come through on video? Don't know. There's a delay, so we'll find out. I'm not very well set up for this either because I'm going to throttle down for a second. My second monitor is actually a TV because I sat with my driving rig over the other side. I could do with another second monitor if I'm going to start doing this properly, and I figure, you know, I'm playing the game anyway, I may as well stream it. I've been playing it, actually I haven't been playing that long, I've been playing since October, but I have done about 900 hours since October. So if anybody doesn't know who I am or what I do, I've got a few sort of projects on the go. There's the federal grind, so obviously I've done that. That's a task in itself. I started off as a trader to get my money, not much of an explorer, so I've just built an explorer ship called the Gap Year Student, so I'm asking for help on that on the Frontier forums, and I think that's ready to rock and roll now. The guys there have been really helpful, so all that's left now is to engineer it when I, you know, get past tomorrow's excitement, refocus, engineer it. I reckon we can get it doing 65, 66 light years, even with the AFMs in there and everything else that I'm going to need, my SRV bay, the lot. So Gap Year Student, I can show you this actually, 2 seconds. If I go to here, okay, I'll unmute this because this is my escape screen. So if I ever need to go for a wee, I hit escape and it mutes the chat. It mutes me, sorry. But it still allows you to see what's going on in the game. But the photograph of the anaconda there is one from Gap Year Student. So, and if I suddenly need to start reading your messages, I've got another screen, which is this one. I kind of like this because I did have a photograph in there, but I thought if I could loop a video of me sat in a station, so I just did a quick, like 20-second recording of him sat in the station and tried to get it bookended, so it should start more or less as it finishes, but I stupidly did it when I was inside the station, as in not on the landing pad, so I've got the steam coming down. It does add to it, but it every now and then it's like a glitch in the matrix. It just kind of, so I think I'll leave it. The glitch in the matrix thing's kind of cool. But for instance, if we're having a conversation, I've got a second monitor, I could actually bring that up and see historically a bigger chat than I would see on the YouTube app or the fold out chat, because I'm not going to be monitoring it. I'm not going to be censoring people if they want to call me an idiot or whatever, because I am. I'm just going to take that, but I kind of like that as a screen, so give me your feedback. The reading your messages thing, on the bottom left, I had this image in my mind of what I wanted to see embedded in the side of that chair, and I wanted the loading animation, but you can't get a decent loading animation as a GIF. It just looks terrible. But I managed to get this thing, which is a browser object from a file format that isn't usable on OBS, which is what I'm using to stream now. And I just thought, well, if the chat element works, can I use a CSS style, which I've used on the chat, to bring that one thing from a page in? Turns out you can. So now it sits there on the reading your messages thing. I like it anyway. It's just little things like that that please me. I'm I'm a simple man. Anyway, so I got the two options with the chat as well. I can have it off, so if I'm in a menu, or we're outfitting, or we're doing something, you know, we're playing around. Like tomorrow, probably going to spend a lot of time in menus, going through what I can engineer. But I can bring the chat up any time, or go to the reading chat messages. Is what I was thinking. But right, let's go back to where were we going? Compromised Nav beacon. Click back over here. Double click. Off we go. I'm horrifically awful at combat when I haven't played this for a few days either, so don't judge me. I mean, normally when I've been playing it for days, I'm amazing at combat. I'm not. I'm actually still really bad at combat, which is why my combat rank is only 23% of master, because I never really bothered with it. But I need it for Lori Jameson, so the whole exercise here was to unlock engineers. And I was hoping to get them all unlocked before... Stop. I was hoping to get all the engineers unlocked before tomorrow, but I failed. But I've managed to get all of these, except for...
Scan detected.
Ramtar. I did have the classified data scan banks for them, but I bloody deleted them by mistake. That annoyed me. I should have just dropped them off. Naturally though, without really trying, I think I've got about 30 of them back. Yes, I got 29 of them back. But that's a pain. And then obviously Lori Jameson, which we have access to Shinrada Desra, but we don't have the rank. So you're forced to become a murderer, even if it doesn't apply to your game style. You're a murderer. Terrible. I should turn that. See, times like this, I should turn off the...
Scan detected.
If I remember to turn the chat off there, that means everybody can see everything. I'll get very slick at this, or stupid. I might even try and see if there's an external button box that I can just point at that one. Or can I get voice attack to point only at that when I'm in game? I don't know. We'll have a look at it. So anyway, back to normal. This is me playing with buttons now. Here we go. Back to normal. Right here. We should be back and playing. Excellent. So all I'm looking for is elites. Deadly, dangerous and elite. That's all I ever want. Now the downside, of course, is they need to be wanted, really. So we have our kill run scanner. Should get that out, actually. Always pre-launch your weapons, because they take a few seconds to deploy. So if somebody does something horrible to you very quickly, there you go, you can leave your hard points out all the time there. So a dangerous anaconda. Now ideally I want to start scanning all the ships anyway, but...
Scan detected.
Oh, he's wanted. Swap my lasers out. I have something that's a bit better. If he starts to drain a lot of power, I'm able to swap to just highs or lows. on, competent elite.
Flight assist on.
Please be wanted. He is. Now, these things are normally a pain. They're just so fast.
Warning. Temperature critical. Under attack. Target shields. Flight assist off.
You can never stay behind these things, so you just may as well just face it out with them.
Target target drop. Scan detected. Flight assist off. Flight assist off. Target destroyed.
So there was a matrix to say how much you got per kill, but it never seemed to equate. It always said you got this, that and the other. Let's move that out of there so we can see. See if there's any elites. Deadly will do for now. Clean. Master. Oil firing out.
Target shields offline. Flight assist off. Target destroyed. Scan detected.
It's a good thing about hitting like a hammer with all the lasers as well. If you get to a point where they're almost dead, you can do a lot of damage very quickly, so you can get your scan out of the way.
Flight assist off.
I think most of these are going to be.
Flight assist on.
Get shot up by something though, so let's go see what we're getting shot at by. Deadly bad boy. I'm not so worried about the data retrieval at the moment, because tomorrow I hope to pretty much empty it. They're going to get in before I get there. Oh well.
Flight assist off. Scan detected. Flight assist on.
Hauler, they're normally up to no good. I'll watch the right
Scan
screen.
detected. Scan detected.
You're definitely going to be wanted, you just scan me. It's already on it. Ooh, wing of 3. Got it. We'll take him first, shall we?
Target shields offline. Warning, temperature critical. Warning, thermal attacker gaining heat. Flight assist off. Warning, impulse attack. Trajectory disruption. Flight assist.
Pretty good. These things are just so agile.
Flight assist. Flight assist. Target shields offline. Warning. Temperature critical. Flight assist off. Flight assist off. Under attack.
They split you up. This is what I normally do. I always make the same mistake. I let them split me up, and then I swap my firepower resources amongst the two of them.
Flight assist on. Flight assist off. Flight assist on. Scan detected.
It's best to hard hit these little.
Flight assist off.
You've got them in your range for such a short period of time. You may as well use
Scan detected.
the most amount of power in the shortest period of time.
Scan detected. Target shields offline. Warning. Temperature critical. Under attack.
There we go. Don't normally like taking on small ships like these in wings with a Corvette because it's just... they're too fast. You're just running around after them 9 times out of 10.
Target shields offline. Flight assist off. Flight assist on. Flight assist off. Flight assist on.
It's too far away.
Under attack. Flight assist off.
So this will come to me.
Assist on.
Just cruise around here now.
Target shields online.
And we're flipping this massive brick around forever if I don't. There you go.
Target shields offline. Scan detected. Flight assist off. Flight assist on. Under attack. Scan detected. Target destroyed.
You can do 1% if I was being a bit more concentrated. Probably about 10 or 15 minutes. I'll have to do a proper test now because of course all I'm trying to do is get that combat rank up. Doesn't seem to be a lot of elites around here that aren't targets. But then again, everything's getting reset tomorrow, isn't it? You could just kill anything anyway. Oh, I can test a shield cell bank, can't I? Shield cell bank.
Done.
Let's see how that actually works. I've never used them before. I normally just wait for my shield to come up.
Heat sink deployed.
That's good. And I assume if I had more into systems, it'd be better again. I don't know how that works. I'll find out.
Scan detected. Flight assist off.
Let's concentrate on this one.
Flight assist on. Under attack. Warning. Temperature critical. Target shields offline.
Close down a minute. The reason why this is a beam laser build is because you never have to. What used to do my head in a lot, I went to extraction sites and obviously you get the police after you. So I got annoyed with that and I went to hazardous resource extraction sites that were in an anarchy system. So I basically shot anything that was deadly, dangerous or elite, miners, irrelevant. But then I annoyed the local faction. And because I annoyed the local faction, their station took me out quite quickly, and I mean very quickly. So I lost my pilot, and I was really annoyed about that. Let's do some scanning of bits and bobs. Ooh, got an elite. Please be naughty. Things are just going to be too fast, aren't they? I'm not going to chase him, I'm going to wait for him to come back round. Do come back round. He's not coming back, is he? Ah, here he comes.
Target shields online. Under attack. Warning. Temperature critical. Target shields offline.
sun coming in and going out. Straight on this rather than that.
Flight assist off. Flight assist on. Target cargo dropped. Flight assist off. Flight assist on. Target destroyed.
Okay, I've got to take a quick break. I should be back in a moment. Actually, I'll leave that on and I'll just turn this one on.
Under attack.
Maybe I'll come back for a second.
Flight assist off. Flight assist on. Target shields offline. Flight assist off. Flight assist on. Target destroyed.
Right, this time I can leave. I'm back in a second. Okay, that should be. There you go. The buttons work. It comes straight back on microphone. Yay! Alright, what was I doing? Right, I was experimenting with how these shield cell banks work. So, if I power systems, boost shields, shield cell bank, shield cell bank.
Done.
Heatsink deployed.
I put them at the front because I think they look pretty when they go off. I know it's a very puerile thing to do, but pretty lights. So they are a little bit more effective and less time consuming than waiting for those things to come up by themselves, which is good.
Scan detected.
What am I carrying? Let me show you. I know my kill warrant scanner is really slow. But it'll work from 7 kilometers away, so I tend to find that's a better trade-off. NPCs have started running away a lot more. And I kind of got fed up of running around after them because I'm in a flying brick. Normally I find if you annoy them enough, they'll start coming back at you. You don't have to sit there constantly just going back and forth like some sort of medieval jousting competition.
Under attack. Target shields offline. Scan detected.
Didn't have pips right.
Scan detected.
Come back. Yeah, you want to.
Target destroyed.
Just move the menu. I think obvious around here, they're deadly. That might be a free kill there.
Target shields offline.
Oh, he's good. That'll teach me to look before I fire. Sorry, mate. That's the one I was after.
Target shields offline. Flight assist on.
Never mind, all phones will be gone by tomorrow, yeah?
Scan detected.
I refuse to chase after him, he can come back.
Scan detected.
Come on, come back, you know you want to. I'll just annoy you with these things. There you go. I know, it'd be quicker if I just went after him, but
Target shields online.
now he'll come back. Come on. Brick.
Target destroyed.
Elite. Make sure he's wanted before I start firing at him this time. Wing of 3 small ships. Oh, my favourite thing ever in a big ship like this. It's not, I hate it. But they're elite. Or he is.
Detected. Scan detected. Flight assist off. Flight assist on. Under attack.
I'll split these weapons up.
Flight assist off. Flight assist off. Scan detected.
One of you's got to stay close enough.
Flight assist on.
No point arguing with it.
Target shields offline. Warning. Temperature critical.
Shield cell bank.
Done.
They don't stick on one. They'll just keep flying around you like bloody bees. Oh, that look for it.
Flight assist on. Scan detected.
They're just too fast for this ship. Too small.
Boosting 5 times.
Warning. Temperature critical. Target shields offline.
Power escape.
Silent running. Warning. Taking heat damage. Under attack. Frame shift drive.
We'll just get out of here. No point.
Multi-boost over.
We've got 5 or 6 of the small ships in a ship of this size. There's just no point.
Taking heat damage. Hull integrity compromised.
Heat sink.
Heat sink deployed.
Here's a prime example why you don't take on like wings of 3 or 4 elite little
Check
vultures.
shields.
Because they're just a pain in the arse. Well, there was no stations around here either, was there? Not big enough. wanted locally anyway. My mouse is really glitching for some reason. Why is my mouse not moving properly? There you go. Thank you.
Frameshift drive charging.
But in that short stint we did do 2 or 3%. So if I remain sensible and actually only just stuck to the 1 or 2 elites rather than what appeared to be 4 or 5 at that point. I'm sure it said wing of 3, but there were 4 or 5 going at that point. And I haven't got the agility to stick with one, and the tactics of them is far cleverer than I am. So what they'll do is they'll just, one will run away and then the others will just keep circling you because you can't go that fast. Still, it's always exciting, isn't it, for like bits blown up everywhere. Not so exciting and enjoyable when it's your bits that are being blown up everywhere, but still fun. We'll get here, get it repaired. The other thing, when you start streaming a game, you start thinking, oh, I need to make it exciting, rather than just do what you would normally do and just take out the 1 or 2. I'll watch this video back one day and go, what an idiot. But I'm not a combat pilot, as I say, so that's why I only take on 1 or 2 and I have beam lasers. As soon as I got the rank for Lori, I'll leave combat again. Because my next ship is the gap year student, so that's going to be exploration. And the combat elite will just come as and when it comes. Being a good boy, staying under 100.
This station operates under a docking regulations. Ensure you have authorization before attempting to disembark.
Solid contact, securing ship.
Okay, I'll even try and remember to remove the chat from the side. There we go. No one's using it for now anyway. So now we can see everything on the screen. Did do a fair bit of damage. So I'm looking here as well. Always easy to forget to do your advanced maintenance. If you don't, it'll creep up on you. You'll come in here one day and the ship integrity be at like 80%. It'll cost you 200 million or whatever. It's ridiculous. I'm exaggerating, but it can cost you a lot of money. Of course, I'm carrying a ship launch fighter. Oh, we actually can go through the outfitting here for a second, didn't we? I'm set up as a normal do everything in one go. So I've got an SRV bay, I've got a ship launch fighter bay, because this is my do everything in one go jobby ship. If I was setting it up for combat properly, I'd probably just get rid of all of that and stuck in hull reinforcements, but I can't be bothered because I'm not going to be doing this for long. Pardon me. Hardpoint wise, so yeah, we can run through these quickly. I can even bring the chat back up in this one, which is... Oh, now I'm on the wrong screen, that's fine. That button. So if anybody does say anything. Yeah, so two huge beam, huge beam lasers. They're both modified only to level 4 because I didn't have the right bits to take them to grade 5 efficient. So eventually they will fire for a lot longer periods of time, and then that should solve any issues if the once in a blue moon they get into combat. But yeah, that's pretty much what's... Sorry, a sandwich was just being delivered, so I was getting distracted. Also, my overall stats are completely all apart because I've not sorted out. Let me show you. So yeah, my armor thermal resistance is still negative because I haven't sorted that out with the hull reinforcements. Because when I started doing this, obviously they're in beta testing for 3.0, and when I started seeing what you could do in there, I just thought there's no point. But generally it's okay. I mean, it doesn't tend to let me down that often unless you're taking on wings of 4 and doing stupid stuff like that. But I want to look at particularly things like the experimental modifiers that you can now put on other modules, so that could be interesting to see what that would do. Most people want to read this, so I'll just skip through it. Yeah, as you can see, I'm not a combat pilot. I literally was pretty much unranked in combat until I got to Lori Jameson and then realised I had 3 or 4 ranks to go, and I've still got another rank or 2. I think I was not even competent because I only ever shot back at whatever shot at me. So interdictions, that sort of things. But I have kind of started enjoying it. I might even start looking at building a little combat build. Not a Corvette, I don't think these are good combat ships. My brain wants to fly as fast as the vultures around me are. Which is irony, because vultures don't fly that fast in reality, they just kind of circle slowly. I should call them bees. Fines issued. Yeah, as you can see, I'm a massive smuggler. Spent 90% of my game smuggling. Obviously trading's been my main thing. Mining, again, I think I had to do that for an engineer. So I have a mining ship. So I have a ship for every task, rather than having a ship that I keep re-outfitting. So I think I have 3 Anacondas at the moment. One is a general purpose Anaconda because it's generally was the first kind of multi-purpose ship I bought. I have an Anaconda which is built just as a transport ship for people, so it's just full of economy cabins. Then I've got an Anaconda which is for the exploration, which is Gap Year Student, which is my newest project, and one that I hope to. Can't really look at the stats of those from here, but I shall find a way. I'll keep going through here because sometimes people are interested in seeing this. I'm not going to talk my way all the way through it. But yeah, passengers, if you get the passenger missions, obviously they've nerfed most of them. But hopefully they're going to rebalance those out. I kind of like passenger missions because you can sit and watch a lot of Netflix while you do it. It's kind of why I'm interested in getting the Explorer rank as well, because if I just go to Colonia, then Sajay, maybe Beagle, and then come back, that should do the entire rank that I've got left, and be interesting, and I can finish all of those Netflix box sets up. Obviously I won't be streaming that'd be pointless. I will be streaming the start though, how I'm outfitting stuff. So if I go to shipyard and see if I can look at ship transfer and see if that gives you an idea. There you go. So that was my very first ship, called it Endeavour. That I built for a stream we were doing with Astro over at Down to Earth Astronomy. Pretty good bunch of group of guys there actually. Community I spend most of my time in. Linda Leap Davis, he was my local jump ship, so he was it's called Linda Leap Davis because he's named after a long jumper from South Wales from many years ago. So the idea behind him is he can jump about 50 light years, so I use him to go around a bubble and then transfer the ship I need to that place. I've got Eddie, he was my original truck because he can carry a lot of cargo. There's the space taxi. You can't actually oh yeah, you can do it. You can do it this way, can't you? You can do it one by one. Again, these aren't built for anything else other than just carrying passengers, so there's nothing else on them. I'm going to revisit them because my thought process about building ships has changed dramatically. So that doesn't need any weapons, it doesn't need massive power plants. All the sort of stuff that I learned when I was building an Explorer ship are going to come to fruition on here, I think, because your mindset is always, oh well, it needs to have the power plant that's powerful, or the best for this or the best for that. But you can gain an extra light year or two on your jump range, which for a passenger ship, if you're doing multiple drops, is very handy, and you don't need the power. So power management I learned by building this thing. This is Gap Year Student, so it needs its engineering done, but obviously it's got no weapons. So my optional internals and core, there you go, it does show. So obviously massive fuel scoop, cargo rack. I wasn't going to put a cargo rack on a ship, but then I realised if I had a class 1 repair limpet, I could make the limpets I need out in the field and repair my hull, and then use the AFMs to do any of my internals. So I've got 2 AFMs just in case one starts to fail. I can use one AFM to repair the other. Makes sense. I managed to get the whole thing to run on a 2A power plant. Thrusters I don't think you can make any smaller because of the mass of the ship. Frame shift drive, obviously that's your primary bit. What else did I manage to get quite low on there? Obviously alloys are down. Yeah, there's a bit more to that ship, and there's a lot more detail. If you go into the Frontier Developments forums, there's a post on there about this ship that I was asking people for help, and people were really helpful. I mean, they just didn't say you need to do this, you need to do that, and didn't kind of walk you through it like you're a 2-year-old. They kind of steered you in the right direction and said, that's a bit silly, why have you got this? Which makes you question, why have you got that? And then that's when I finally got to this build. So at the moment it's doing, I think, 57 light years. Don't even think it's on here at the moment. This speed, I think it's doing 57, 58. So the only ones it gives me here is my max and min. So if I had 64 tons of cargo, I'd be doing 51. If I had a low fuel level, I'd be doing 60.21. Obviously it's got no shields. Well, it's got some shields, but as in it's 2 shots and it would be dead. But I'm never going to put that anywhere near where it should be in any danger. But that's my favourite ship going forward, I think, because I want to experiment with it. A little Asp Explorer is named after my son. That's why that's still around. I still love that ship. I might make an Explorer out of that as well. And Samantha's my wife. So that was a multi-purpose killing machine. It isn't a bad ship for what it is. It's a good multi-purpose ship, but I think it also uses a large landing pad. Just it doesn't say on here, but yeah, that uses a large landing pad, and I built that again before I learned a lot of my lessons that I say lessons before I learned to build it the way that suits me. So it's still got a lot of multi-cannons on there and stuff like that. So what I'd like is a balance of lasers and multi-cannons, and then but multi-cannons that hit hard enough. And I got things like corrosive shell, but I think that was an accidental experimental thing when I was engineering it very lightly. I was unlocking engineers with this ship originally, so it had a lot of accidental engineering done to it. But you can see it, shields and armor on that aren't exactly disrespectful for an Anaconda. So I reckon if I played around with that, that'd still be a cool ship. But Corvette is nice to fly around in there. It just looks cool. It doesn't jump very far, but I think my main ship running around is going to be Gap Year Student. I'm going to put a lot of focus on that, particularly in the first week of the 3.0 launch, and then I'm probably going to head out to Colonia, you know, just as the Thar guys are turning up, because you've seen how good I am at combat, so maybe I should just be in Colonia. I made a joke on a post I put on earlier on. I was watching another YouTube video. Somebody was saying, well, you know, most of the players are saying they're going to bugger off to Colonia, you know, and then transfer their ships, which will cost a fortune. I mean, you can see how much it costs to transfer ships just to here. You'd be looking at, you know, how far away am I? 7 minutes from Shinra to Desra. And you're looking at 2, 3, probably about 4 or 5 million quid to transfer all those ships here. Imagine those going to Colonia. And the Corvette that I'm in, that would be the biggest cost. So I'd have to get out there in Gap Year Student and then transfer this lot out there. I'd be broke, and then realise there's no engineering out there, get really annoyed at the game, stop playing for ages, and then transfer it all back once the Thargoid threat had not taken out Shinra Desra. But it'd be interesting to see where they do head though when they get to the bubble. Well, I don't know what they're going to do with the old stations either. I don't think they're going to get built. The returns on trying to get those things built are just, they're not good. So anyway, actually, as I'm parked, I'm going to leave that here for a bit because I'm going to have something to eat. But I've noticed there've been 1 or 2 people in here. Thank you very much. It's really nice to have you. It's nice to know you're not completely on your own. If you sat here for an hour streaming and it just says 0 watching, you just start getting a bit depressed. So I'm going to test my outputting system now. So the idea is that I can go straight to this, and that's kind of like the end of chat thing. So the thing is, we do the whole cool talking. So this is when I've got people watching. So you do this whole sort of thanks everybody, the chat's still rolling, we're all saying how great you are. Or I could flick to this in a second, and then, you know, make it look like I'm very proud of this screen, by the way. So much effort has gone into making that screen just look cool, with the messages, the little rotating logo, him still moving in his seat. Very happy with that. Don't shake your head. I am happy. He doesn't agree. He thinks I'm sad. And you didn't, well, if you were in earlier you got to see it, but my waiting screen, I need to unmute myself, but yeah, so my waiting screen, I kind of like this as well. And that's a picture of Gap Year Student. So if any of you are watching, listening just a second ago, the very gold Anaconda doing a inappropriate selfie outside the latest station to get attacked, I just thought that'd be a funny thing to do, because he's a Gap Year Student. Oh, it's called Gap Year Student because the idea behind that is he'll travel very long distances and then be absolutely no bloody use when he gets there. So that's why I call it Gap Year Student. Anyway, I'm going to take you back to the last screen, which is the exit one. I kind of like that. I was travelling along and that tiny rock there just flipped me up in the air, and I landed, literally I went up into the atmosphere for about probably 30 meters and then came back down and landed on my back like that, and I just thought it was funny. On the same planet, mind you, I found a rock hovering in midair, so I managed to climb on top of it. I took a photograph of it on top of that rock, and then I put it into the Frontier Developments forum as I found the smallest moon in Elite Dangerous. That did get some giggles, which is nice. I always like to have a bit of fun, if I can. So eventually things will get better. This is my first day or two of streaming. I'm putting a lot of effort into making it look nice so that it's not just staring at a game. I have some wells of information. Some of it might be relevant, some of it might not, but... Oh, hello Lord. I should just say hello Lord and just leave it at that, shouldn't I? I didn't see messages come through. I don't have a second monitor for monitoring chat either, so all that sort of cool slick stuff you see other people doing, I don't get to do that. But I'll work it out, and I'll probably start streaming properly from when 3.0 comes out. So I just figure it's a good time. We're all, you know, we're all starting afresh. None of us have all the answers. We can all explore it together from different directions, and some of my findings might be relevant, some of it might be complete and utter tosh, and you might think I'm an idiot. But anyway, thank you very much. There's 5 of you in here, so I just want to say goodbye and cheerio.